Don't give me all that. I know you personify your car, you little freak. You know that thing's an inanimate object and you treat it like your partner in crime. You make me sick with your delusion. No, I'm just kidding. I do the exact same thing. People being into cars, it's very common when you have a car that you really enjoy, one that you've owned for a long time. You kind of personify it as a piece of you, or kind of like your partner in crime. I've mentioned in a previous video that for a long time I used to own a Mazda Miata. Very recently I had to switch cars. I'm now in a C5 Corvette, which has been an awesome ride and I already love it to death. But when I did have that Miata, and even a while after I got rid of it, I really felt like that car was a part of me. It really felt like that car was my right-hand man, my partner in crime, and I really did personify it as a partner. And I know I'm not the only one who thinks that way. It's kind of a natural thing that people who are into cars feel with a car that means a lot to them. And when it comes to that inevitable point or eventual point when it's time to say goodbye and you're at your final days with your partner in crime, you want to kind of savor the moment, kind of get those last moments out that you can savor for time to come when that car is inevitably out of your life. But for the guy we're talking about today, those sentimental moments definitely should have been planned out a little bit better. I came across this reel about a week ago on Instagram and I'm finally getting around to watching it here now, but pretty much this is the story of a guy who went to buy a car off of Facebook Marketplace and met the seller. Seems like they were kind of negotiating a deal. They were potentially going to buy it. Seems like everything was about to be somewhat settled. And the previous owner realized that, oh shoot, this is going to be my last time with this car. This guy's going to buy this thing. I need to take it out for one last sentimental drive. If only the conditions were perfect. And by gosh, they were probably the worst conditions they possibly could have been in. This guy took this random Facebook Marketplace buyer out for a rain drive. Now, for those of you who have never driven in the rain, it's definitely a little bit sketchy compared to nice, sunny, dry conditions. And it's something that, even if you were buddies with this guy, you might be clenching in your seat a little bit, let alone being a complete stranger who has no idea how this guy drives other than what he does in this exact moment. Not to throw any unnecessary flack at our protagonist here in the passenger seat, but I have to say the only thing that this driver is ripping is ass. I want you guys to pay attention to that throttle. Notice how it was super on and off and sounded very rough. I want you guys to keep that in mind as this video continues to play out.
Yeah. She's a little wet, baby. She's a little wet. Yeah, I shouldn't wreck it before I tell it. Yeah, right. That is my problem. Yeah, right?
Now here we are. Facebook seller is so painfully close, on the cusp of being self-aware. He had one moment that got a little bit too close, and I want to play that back once again, but this time I just want to zoom in on his feet here. I want to show you guys the footwork that this guy's doing in the rain.
Woohoo! Oh yeah. She's a little wet, baby.
I'm very confused by the footwork, and not just the footwork, but this guy's want to go drive his car fast in the rain before selling it. Just the way that he's so sharp and on and off the throttle, and then immediately losing the back end of the car, thankfully catching it, and then really fishing around for the correct gear and RPM. It feels weird that the guy in the passenger seat is the one who's buying this car. Like, the guy in the passenger seat is the one who doesn't know this car at all. The guy in the driver's seat just is really all over the place. I don't know if he's just nervous with the conditions and is just powering through and committing because he just wants to drive his car one more time, but the guy is driving all over the place. He's driving with a brick of lead attached to the New Balances, and he's just letting it rip. Now, these famous last words, "I shouldn't wreck it before I sell it," have them etched in stone in the cathedral, one of the great commandments posted above all of our walls, because this is something that this man should have taken his own advice on.
That's funny. Woo! Oh yeah. Shit! Oh. I did it. I wrecked it. Yeah. Ah!
And there we are, finally hitting the climax. The guy officially went too close to the sun. Icarus went and got himself burned up right here in the Facebook Marketplace section and overcorrected his car and spun it off into the bushes. Honestly, really no other way that was going to end. It was honestly kind of terrible driving from point A to point B. I don't want to tear the guy apart too hard just because, I think the guy's pretty aware that he messed up and it was a bad situation, but I'm just so like I said before, I'm so confused with the driving. Like, this is your car that I would assume you know to some degree since you feel connected enough to want to take one last drive in it. So why is it so lead-footed, on and off throttle? It's so choppy, losing traction, going over an overcrest as you're missing the gear and pushing the clutch in and then letting the clutch out and not rev matching properly. It just, so much went wrong. And then coming into the very next corner after saying that you shouldn't wreck it before you sell it, throwing it down a gear and then just punching the throttle on a turn, basically just guaranteeing the back wheels slip out away from you, and then you can't catch it and snap the car the other way immediately. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't get it at all. It was very silly. Props to the passenger though, the buyer. He was a very good sport about the situation and saved some pretty good money on it. So if you had this guy on Shark Tank, he'd be making the deals left, right, and center. This guy knows a deal when he sees one, and buddy, he took advantage. So if this guy's able to wrench on this car and repair the damage that was on it, big respect to him, because pretty much all he did was ride around in a car, get a nice viral video out of it, and get some money knocked off the price, so good for him there. All in all, the lesson to be learned here is find a time and a place for when you want to drive. Obviously, this guy was really committed to driving his car one last time before selling it, but if the situation just doesn't call for it or the conditions aren't that favorable for you, don't press through if you have a bad feeling or if things just aren't really set up in your favor, like I said, because it just isn't worth it. This guy lost a good amount of money off of just trying to do something that admittedly is super innocent, When you're attached to your car, you want to drive it one more time. There's nothing wrong with that, but you gotta know when you're beat or when you planned badly and just kind of give it up if you need to give it up here. As for the driving, I would highly recommend that this guy put some time in the gym on some foot extensions, get those foot pecs popping, and just really smooth out the pressure on those pedals. He was aping around way too much. Those smooth inputs are extremely important in all kinds of driving, but especially the rain. Any aggressive movements in the rain are just amplified, and it really emphasizes that tire slip and that loss of traction, which this guy experienced not once, but twice somehow, and still powered through. But that's pretty much it here. It's just a pretty wacky story I wanted to talk about here, not your average everyday Marketplace experience. Although Marketplace is a pretty degenerate, weird place, so maybe it is a bit more of the common experience. I don't really know. But that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about. Hope you guys enjoyed, and thank you guys for watching. Thanks.